comes from different walks of life.
Yes.
Everyone comes from different household experiences, educational experiences, work experiences, social experiences, and we all come with a different perspective.
Yes.
And so, being able to see past your own way, what's that saying? Get out of your own way, so that you can see how, see someone else's perspective. Not to say you have to agree with it, but you can empathize, right? Like, I can understand how you feel that way. Not the way that I would take, not the approach that I would take, given how my life is situated, right? Because the path for me is not the path for you.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Just Keep Showing Up podcast. I am here with Natashia. I am very excited. I always say I'm very excited about the person I'm talking to, but really I am very excited, very thankful for her to come and sit down with me and share. So I'm going to pass it to her. And my opening question, first of all, how are you doing?
I'm very well, and thank you for having me.
Yes.
And I appreciate you just introducing me by Natashia.
Yes,
right?
yes.
No titles in this podcast, so thank you very much for that.
You're very, very welcome. So I start off, the first question I have, just for the people that's listening, so they know who's talking to them. You can share anything about yourself, whatever it is you want the people to know about you. There's no right or wrong answer.
Okay. Well, Derek, first of all, let me say thank you for inviting me to the podcast.
You're very welcome.
You know how passionate I am about, just podcasts in general, and because everyone has a story, everyone has a voice, and so you using your voice on this platform, I admire and I certainly appreciate it. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yes.
So tell the people a little bit about myself.
A little bit about yourself.
All right. So I'm a mother.
Okay.
I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. I'm a friend. And so I say all of that to say that there's balance in my life. And so I think it's really important, when you start telling people about yourselves, it's really important to say, hey, it's more than just me in my life. There's a lot of people in this world that has made me to be me. And so I definitely want to make sure that I recognize that those folks are acknowledged. I grew up, I think it's important to say I kind of grew up in a single parent household. And I also grew up in a two-parent household, and I think that's very interesting, and it allows me to have several and multiple perspectives on life. 5 brothers, 2 sisters, so definitely been able to have a really good makeup in a sense of different perspectives, and so that's been that. I think that's served me well as I've navigated my time on this earth.
Okay. All right. Okay, so thank you for that. There's definitely some stuff, you just shared already that I'll probably come back around to and ask you some questions about. So this is a Just Keep Showing Up podcast, and I've had the pleasure of working with you, and we've had an opportunity to have some very, very good conversations, some really, really good conversation. I've also had an opportunity to see you lead and see your leadership style. Okay. So that's been very beneficial and helpful. And then some things we shared before we even hit record on this show. So with the Just Keep Showing Up podcast, what are some things that you do for yourself to show up? You just mentioned many different titles or categories in which you are. A mother, you're a daughter, a friend, a sister. I know you talk about your brother a lot. So
one of many.
One of many. So what do you do for yourself to be able to show up in those different capacities?
Okay. Interesting question, and there's a lot of different angles and in different ways that we could answer that. But I think I would like to just sum it up with showing love and kindness, right? And so I think that's super important because it's important to acknowledge that everyone is somewhere at some point in time in their life, whether it's a period of prosperity, a period of growth, a period of despair, a period of depression, a period of happy, a period of sad. I think it's really important that as we engage each other, that we engage each other through love and kindness. And so it's important for me to continue to show up that way. And it's hard. It's not always easy. Sometimes I slip, and sometimes I fall, but I always want to continue to remind myself that someone is going to need that kindness that I need to show to them. Someone's going to need that love that I need to show to them. And then also I might be in need of love and kindness.
Yes.
And I think if I give love and kindness, then love and kindness will return back to me.
Yes.
And so if I continue to show up that way, then I think that, it'll serve both ends, the receiving and the giver.
Okay. Yeah, now definitely love and kindness, that's something that I definitely cherish, just because I know I'm a 100% product of grace. And then something interesting you just said is sometimes you may slip. Sometimes, I know for myself personally, I could focus or just be kind of focused on something different, and I slip up and I may not be as kind or show love in that moment. But I think it's important. I don't know if this resonates with you, the importance of having people in your life who realize like who you are. So when you have those moments of maybe slipping, they still know your heart, and they know who you are.
But also, in addition to that, not but, because
but
means I negate everything you just said. In addition to that, I also think it's important that, we work on ourselves to bring, in terms of self-awareness, so that when we are in that state, we can pull ourselves up. And yes, while it's good for those around us to recognize, hey, that's Natasha, she's kind of acting out of character. Derek, he's kind of acting out of character. While that is great, and that's how we would like it to be, sometimes that's not always the case, because everyone is dealing with their own set of challenges and issues and life experiences, right? And so having the self-awareness ourselves to be able, like, wait a minute, let me pick myself up and help encourage and motivate myself to get back on the right track. And I think that through giving and through like being kind to someone, it automatically takes the focus off yourself. And so then you find yourself in a better place because you've shown some kind of good deed to someone else.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So when you were explaining that, it made me think of, and I've never thought of this before, but self-regulation. Like almost like regulating yourself. Like, so are there things that you do like within your own life that you may practice or you do that you find, okay, man, I'm having a difficult time, and you can self-regulate or self-correct just through a practice that you may have, that you practice in it when you don't need it, but then when that moment arises, it comes, you're able to like self-regulate or self-correct, like we say sometimes in the military. Yeah,
it's interesting that you say that, because I'll give you an example. Well, first, yes. Okay. And then one thing that I do is sometimes I'll whether it's I'll ride in silence, like when I'm driving into whatever location. There's no music. There's nothing. I'm riding in silence, so I can just kind of come back to my center. Sometimes it's playing an audible, right? In terms of a certain book I need to listen to, because I need to feed my spirit a certain way, and so sometimes it's listening to a book. But for this particular instance, I've been TDY traveling on the go, like nonstop, and I feel like I'm neglecting things at home, some things I need to do at home, and so I grounded myself from travel, right? So I just returned right from travel, and so I was like, you know what? I am grounding myself. I am not going anywhere for the next 2 to 3 weeks. So if I get a phone call, say, hey girl, you want to go here and there, I'm going to say no, because I need to recenter, because I do feel like I'm a bit off center. So sometimes I have to ground myself and stay home. Yeah. And
I would say, when you said that, the first thing I thought about was being brave enough to do that, because I can speak, and I often try to share my experiences when I'm doing the podcast, so I can kind of say, okay, this is what I've experienced, not something someone has said. And that kind of gets back to being authentic. It's like honoring yourself, not just making sure you honor yourself, because if you don't honor yourself, then now you just flying all over the place, wherever people want to go. So I think that's very brave, especially in the position that you're in, that could be very demanding, very, very demanding, and to be able to say, hey, no, I'm stopping. I need to, recharge and reset myself so I can come back and be whatever, get back to yourself. So that's really, really good.
We reset everything else, right?
Yes.
So for my military listeners, we reset equipment all the time, right?
Yes.
Because we've used it, and so now we need to reset it back to its original state. So sometimes we have to reset ourselves back so that we can, go back and perform at the level that we know that we can perform at, and if we're not calibrated, then things gets off. So it's really important to reset ourselves.
And we sometimes can treat that equipment almost better than we treat the human, right? And the human is the one operating the equipment. So that's really good that you shared that we do have to reset. Something you shared when you opened up and you talked about the people who have helped you. I'm paraphrasing. The people who have helped you get to where you are. And again, I'll speak on me. A lot of things that I do are very intentional. Like I wear a Saints hat a lot of times, and that kind of reminds me of where I came from. Like no matter what event I'm doing, I could have that hat on. Keeping New Orleans, keeping Kenner, Louisiana on my mind. Like literally, because so many people have invested into my life to where I'm at now. And you mentioned that just people who have helped you get to where you are. And I know within your leadership style and how you show up at work, to me, I can see that because one, you allow your leaders to lead. You kind of come in and shape things as necessary because you ultimately got to answer to people above you. But it's a very fortunate thing, kind of getting, because we do work together, allowing people to lead. But just getting back to like people who have helped you get to where you are, and honoring them. You know what I mean? Is that something that you feel like when you maybe like giving a brief or something, you can have like something may come over you, it's like, okay, I know people who believe in me know that I'm supposed to be here. You know what I mean? That's
an interesting question and interesting kind of way of thinking about it. Yes, I there's always, I do feel like my shoulders are heavy sometimes, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Because of the level of expectation that that I've placed on myself, the level of expectation that my family and friends have placed on me, and it's not an expectation they placed on me just because, it's a level of expectation they placed on me because they've seen me perform in certain ways, right? And so knowing that I'm capable of doing certain things. And so I do think back and I'm like, sometimes when you get weary, sometimes when you get tired, sometimes when you're like, okay, why am I doing this? Well, this is why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because Derek needs me, right? Derek needs me to show up every day, because he has a job that he has to do. He has a commitment and obligations to his family, and this is his means of meeting his commitment and obligations to his family. So Natashia has to show up so that because I become an enabler. So to all those other supporting elements that. That I'm responsible for. So yeah, absolutely. I do carry that burden because of that expectation that's there.
Okay. Yeah, something I've been recently thinking about, and I was reading I don't know if it was a book, I think the guy's name is Shetty. He's used to be a monk and now he's not a monk, but he does I forgot his first name. But he was talking about something that I truly do believe. You have a lot of people that say, I'm going to show this person that I can do something. Like the person who doesn't believe in me, I'm going to do it and I'm going to show them. Okay. But for me, I do things to show people who believe in me that I can do it. And I'll give you an example. Just a recent example. Where we just went to work, the trip we just went on. Okay. I wasn't super confident going there, knowing I was going to most of the time be by myself in front of that vehicle, briefing stuff. But I kept saying to myself, I was sent here. My supervisor, my supervisor sent me here. She believes that I can do it. And then I remember when you came and took over where we worked, you brought like this thing with me to like, okay, now I'm about to start opening some books because there's a level of expectation I felt when you came. Like, look, I expect people to know what they're doing. So that sharpened me. But when I went on that trip, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. This person believes in me. And then touching on something that you just touched on of like, hey, being there for someone, when the probably most difficult time there, you were there right by my side, you know. So it was just a great thing. So I've gotten to a place now that I try to do things for the people who believe in me, because I feel like there's positive energy going into that compared to doing things to prove people wrong who don't believe in you. So I was just wondering, like, what's your take on that, of doing things for people who believe in you compared to those who don't believe in you, like the motivation of the two, you know?
Yeah. So I certainly think that when you get into trying to do something to prove someone wrong, it sparks negative energy, right? And so, and with negative energy, you know, it's contagious, just as positive energy is also, right? And so when you get into it with a mindset of trying to prove something, whether it's proven to the naysayers or proven to those who believe in you, I think either way you can kind of get yourself caught up into doing it for the wrong reasons. You know, do it for you. You know, you know, show up for yourself. And I think when you show up for yourself, it naturally permeates throughout, and it benefits and it affects everyone in your circle, even outside of your circle. So I always use this, and I love the airline. Put your oxygen mask on first before helping others. Like, I am a firm believer in that, because if you die, how you gonna help me? Right? I need you to live so that we can all live. You know? And so, and if each individual took that approach of I gotta live so that we can all live, then we're always going to be showing up for ourselves so that we can help, you know, as a residual benefit. We help everybody. And so I think that's my approach, not so much as proving anyone. It's about, you know, understanding what I'm about to use some acquisition terms.
That's okay.
Right here. But understanding what our capabilities and limitations are as a human being. Recognizing what we're good at.
To life.
Recognizing, and if there are limitations, but yet there's something that you want to expand upon and grow in, then figure out how to overcome that challenge. Figure out how to make yourself great in that area. You talked about how, you know, you had to go and open the book, right? Because you realized that you had a limitation. You close that gap by opening the book. And so so we just have to do it for ourselves. And I think when we and that's not being selfish, right? And so I'm not saying from a selfish energy of going out and, hey, it's all about me, but I'm doing it for me because I care and love the people around me. And if I can show up as the best version of myself, if I can pour into myself, then guess what? I'm going to make everyone around me the best version of themselves as well.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else that maybe I didn't touch on with you showing up that you want to expound on?
I mean, I think we hit it, Derek. I mean, you had some really good follow-on questions there, and so I think so. I think for me the importance for me in terms of showing up is, you know, everyone comes from different walks of life. Everyone comes from different household experiences, educational experiences, work experiences, social experiences, and we all come with a different perspective. And so being able to see past your own way, you know, what's that saying? Get out of your own way so that you can see how, you know, see someone else's perspective. Not to say you have to agree with it, but you can empathize, right? Like, I can understand how you feel that way. Not the way that I would take, not the approach that I would take, given how my life is situated, right? Because the path for me is not the path for you, and that's okay. But I can understand why Derek is taking that path. And I'm not going to judge Derek because he took that path. And I think if we can just really appreciate everyone's individual experiences and respect those, and not judge why they make certain choices, but understand why they make certain choices.
I don't have to add. I completely agree with that. I don't have to add anything to that at all. So my final question to you is, if someone listens to this podcast and they're like, man, that's some good stuff, and everything she's sharing resonated with me. What would be some advice that you would give to that person? I feel like you've given some excellent advice, but if there's anything else you'd like to add on as we close out.
Okay. So originally, I had wrote down take action, right? Mm-hmm. And as we sit here and we have this discussion over the last few minutes, it's kind of morphed into take action on yourself. Mm-hmm. Figure out how to make yourself better. Figure out how to become more self-aware, more empathetic. I think we need a little bit more empathy, in socially, in the workplace, in the household, and so I think if we spend more time on self-awareness, we spend more time on learning about ourselves. Mm-hmm. I think that allows us to pour in love and kindness to others, and so that we can show up the way that we need to for the people in our life.
That's really good. So I have just one follow-on question because I asked this question from what you just explained, becoming self-aware. For me, the more I become self-aware and I settle in with who I am, it makes I'm able to spend more time around other people because I'm not comparing myself in a sense. And just wondering if that's like the feel you get, like as you get more and more comfortable with being who you are, you can walk into a place and not have to feel like you need to compete with people. Mm-hmm. You can just embrace who they are and truly show up as yourself.
That's a beautiful feeling too, Derek. Mm-hmm. Like yes, it is a beautiful feeling when you get to a point in your life, and let me say now, like I haven't always been, because like because when you're early, growing up and experiencing life, you are, and you don't know who you are. You're trying to figure out yourself, and thankfully we're at an age now, and when I say age, I mean a time and space. This time in our society where we're focusing more on team building. We're focusing more on self-awareness and things of that nature, self-reflection. Whereas and so now we're equipping people with the right tools to help them get to a point of self-reflection and get to a point of self-awareness. I don't think that has always been the case, decades ago. And so, I encourage and charge young people now, at a, high school, college, to start thinking about that self-awareness and empathy aspect of life, because it will pay dividends in your life over the years. And not even, and it kind of goes back to the pouring into yourself part, right? Not for others, but for you, so that you can be that beautiful person around others, so that you can be socially engaged freely, right? Without being self-conscious. And so if you work on yourself now, you're gonna have more time to experience this beautiful place of walking into a room and being okay with being whoever you are, and not wanting to be someone else, because that's who they are, and you are who you are. So and the thing is, and you just never know who on the other end you're thinking like, oh, I wish I had this, and they're over there looking at you. It's like, oh, I wish I had that, And so we're all, because we don't have, we think we want, and when we get to a point where we can be happy and satisfied with the beautiful being that God made us,
I agree.
Then it'll cure a lot of the mental health issues that we have in this world, and that's a whole nother topic, right? When you start talking about that, but I think self-reflection, self-awareness is kind of what feeds the mind and helps with some of the challenges that we struggle with right here between our.
I agree. It's like, makes me think of just being comfortable with who you are. And knowing that your gift, our greatest gift, I think, to the world is who we are. Because there's no one else like us. Not that we don't continue to try to get better and continue to cultivate who we are, but also know that who I am is who's needed in that moment. You know what I mean? It's kind of what I think.
I like that. So, who I am is
who is needed in the moment. Yes.
That
All
sounds like a little discernment, right? You got to be able to to I call it, read the room, right? Be able
Yes,
to
read the room.
What's going on emotionally with whoever you're having an experience.
See, and that makes me think of not trying to force yourself into something. Like, you can sometimes have people, this is so great, you can sometimes have people itching. They want to get their comment in, because I just have to be heard. But sometimes it's a little better when things can just flow your way, just naturally flow. So, yes, this was great. Thank you. I don't know if you have any other closing comments. If not,
Derek, thank you for having me.
Yes.
I have been anticipating being a part of this experience for a very long time now. So I really I appreciate what you're doing.
Yes,
and,
thank you.
And I hope that what we've talked about today blesses somebody's spirit.
Yeah, I think it will. And I'll tell the people, you are a person who kind of helped me with this podcast and my approach to it. So I really appreciate that too. So
You're most welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for checking out the show. Until next time, peace.